you will offend people when you speak truth.
It's time to awaken that lion nature within the church, within Christians, that courage, that warrior spirit.
Hello, welcome to the Lions Awaken show, where your courage will be awakened from your fellow lions.
Roar.
Today, we're going to let out some roars, and Caleb's going to share with us what's on his heart and what God is speaking to him. But before we go into that, check out our website at lionsawaken.org. We have merchandise on there now. One of them is this little 16 or 20 ounce water bottle. I'm not sure what it is.
That's beautiful.
Can't remember how much I paid for it, but you can find out on the website. Got stickers on there, got some shirts and some hoodies, I believe, and some laptop sleeves to put your laptop in, a coffee to go mug, and that's basically about it for now.
Yep.
And you can check out all our latest podcasts on our website, lionsawaken.org. And you can check out our mission on there as well. So, well, do you just want to share, like, the whole thing that God put on your heart with Lions Awaken, how that got birthed?
Sure. So it was back in October, I believe, of 2019 when I was going for my nightly stroll here around Morningstar. And I was really frustrated. I guess you could say I was complaining to the Lord because I was just frustrated at how a lot of Christians and churches here in the West, how soft we've become, how weak we've become, how we can't even talk about controversial issues like abortion, homosexuality, Islam, things of this nature. And so I was like, Lord, why is this? Why can't we even talk about this stuff without getting offended or without getting, weird or like, oh yeah, I don't want to talk about that. And I just felt like he was just saying how, the lions within the lions, his lion nature, God has two natures. He has a lion nature and a lamb nature. And we know that Christ, when he came first, he came as a lamb. And his lamb nature is more about like love and compassion and just that gentle spirit. But he also has a lion nature, and that is his warrior side, his fierce, courageous, battle type side of him. And that's the side, that nature is going to be revealed in the end times when he comes back for his bride. And so I felt him kind of tell me that we as Christians, we as the church, we understand his lamb nature very well, but we do not understand his lion nature. His lion nature has been almost, I don't want to use the word suppressed within the church, but it's just been ignored. It's been ignored. It's been misunderstood for a long time. And so I felt like he told me, like, it's time to awaken that lion nature within the church, within Christians, that courage, that warrior spirit within the church and within Christians, because that nature is what we're going to need in these end times,
right? To
battle
to confront the issues instead of
exactly
stay silent about them, which is kind of what the church has done for a while.
Exactly, to combat those issues, to fight them, to really confront them. And the Lord kind of gave me like a prophetic scene of like how, do you remember, have you ever seen the movie The Lion King?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
I love that movie.
Yeah. So first, let me back up. The devil in Scripture is considered like a lion seeking to devour those, like a roaring lion seeking to devour those he can. But Christ is also considered a lion in Scripture as well, the Lion of Judah. And the Lord was telling me how the only way we can combat the evil lions, or the devil when he's in his lion form, is if we ourselves are lions, because only lions can fight other lions, right? So if we operate in a lamb spirit when we're fighting a lion, like lion type ideologies, evil ideologies that are seeking to devour, we ourselves are going to get devoured. Because a lamb versus a lion, we all know who wins.
There's no chance.
Yeah. So he basically reminded me of the Lion King and how Simba, when he grew up to become a mighty lion, he had to fight Scar, who was the evil lion. And it's funny because even in the movie, you had lionesses and like other type of creatures going up against Scar, but no one could defeat him because they weren't lions.
Mm-hmm.
You had the hyenas and the lionesses trying to fight. They couldn't beat him because he was a lion. He was bigger, stronger, faster. And so it was just fun. It was like a prophetic scene. I seen Simba, he's the only one that could defeat Scar because Simba was a lion. He was a bigger and stronger lion.
And he couldn't do it till he was a mature lion.
Well, yeah, a mature lion, exactly. And so it was just funny. God was just showing me how like only lions can defeat other lions, and the lion in us, obviously, which is Jesus, is bigger and stronger than the lion within, the puppets of the devil, which is evil people on this earth that are pushing the Antichrist spirit agenda. And so that's kind of where it all started, was just the Lord saying that the lions need to awaken. There's a lot of sleeping lions. There's a lot of Christians out there who have courage within them, but it's just asleep and it's not awakened yet. That's why they've been silent on controversial issues and things like that. But we just need to awaken them so that they can speak on it and confront them.
So basically, they have courage, but you feel like a lot of people have never been either taught or seen the courageous side of Jesus, the lion side of Jesus. Like, I mean, he confronted evil ideologies all the time, and he flipped over a table in the temple. I mean, first he made a whip.
Yep.
And he says he's going to come back as a lion.
That's right.
What are some of the characteristics of a lion?
Characteristics of a lion, I would say strong leadership. I would say like warrior type, like a fighter, someone who's willing to protect his pride. Because like we all know that lionesses in a pride, they go out and get the food and they hunt, but it's the lions who protect the pride from any outside forces, from hyenas, from other leopards, from other lions, from other prides. And so it's not the lionesses, it's the lions that protect the pride. And so I feel like characteristics of a lion is a protector, someone to watch over, like pastors. I think pastors, if you want to compare, if you want to compare animal spirits of God to the fivefold ministry, I think pastors are like the lions, and then apostles are like the oxes, prophets are like the eagles, teachers are the dove is like the dove, and then the what's the other one? Evangelist is like the lamb, gentle and loving, and you know what I mean? So if you just want to compare those to the fivefold.
Yeah.
So the lion is a protector, he's a warrior, he
doesn't back down.
He doesn't back down.
He's confident that nobody's going to defeat him.
Yeah.
Which is the attitude.
And his roar can be heard up to like I think a mile or so. Like it can be heard up.
Yeah. So
it's like pastors that when they preach, their message should be hitting everyone in their church and their community and around. So
when a ideology tries to infiltrate a church, the pastor should protect his flock from that.
Absolutely.
So you're saying that lions need to defeat lions, as in Satan's lions are ideologies.
Godly lions need to defeat demonic lions, yes.
Right. So what are some of those lion-like ideologies that are trying to take over the Christian lions?
Yeah. So the lion-like ideologies that are trying to devour God's people, devour the church, devour Christianity, is what we're seeing right now dominate the culture, and that is the LGBTQ agenda. They are ferocious with that.
Ferocious. Oh my goodness.
They are Big time.
sheep are not going to stand. I mean, they just
Mhm.
trample over sheep.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, Satan wants us to turn the other cheek and not stand and just move out of his way so that he can totally take over the church and suppress our freedoms.
Mm-hmm.
Because that has happened in history. It happened in Germany. It happened in Russia. It happened in Cuba, Venezuela, all those socialist type countries.
Absolutely.
But continue.
Well,
LGBTQ is one.
The thing with the LGBTQ too is that because the lion is asleep right now in the church, in the corporate church I'm talking about, and a lot of Christians individually, they've infiltrated the church all under the guise of love and like a lamb, like, oh, you guys got to accept us and all this stuff. And let me just explain this. This is where we've gotten it wrong. And I'm going to continue with the other ideologies just in a second. This is where we've gotten it wrong as Christians and as the church. We have failed to distinguish between people and ideologies. People project ideologies.
Yeah.
Ideologies aren't necessarily people themselves. What do I mean by that? Okay, you have gay people, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, you have people who practice homosexuality. There's a difference. People aren't just being gay isn't your identity. Your identity is who you are. It's your namesake. Your gender is part of your identity, and it's your character. All those things are mixed up into who you are. Homosexuality is a behavior. It's an ideology. It's a belief. It's a worldview. The church has failed to love the person and hate the ideology. Instead, we've loved the person and loved the ideology because we connect the two. We connect we connect the ideology with the person, with the individual, when we need to separate them. And we do the same thing with Islam, Muslims. We do the same thing with people who promote Marxism, like certain politicians that promote Marxism and socialism and abortion, people that have abortions or promote abortions. We do the exact same thing. We ascribe their worldview and ideology to who they are, when it's like, no, we love the person, but we confront their ideology. We hate their ideology that is contrary to God's word. And by the way, those things I just listed are part
Basically
of the other lions.
Yeah.
So,
because if you look at, you said the lion attributes, that's literally the attributes of these ideologies. I mean, they act like they're unstoppable. They infiltrate everything. And it's no longer enough for Christians just to give them freedom to act like it. Now they're like, no, you have to agree with us and you have to believe this too.
yeah.
And I guess that comes from the lions not standing up and saying no.
Our tolerance to them have made them intolerant to us. So we've tolerated their evil ideologies so much so that they have, it's like the wheat, the chaff and the wheat, they grow up together.
Mm-hmm.
So these ideologies are growing up with us, but yet when they get power, then that's when they become intolerant towards us.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Because the church is supposed to set the moral standard for the country.
Mm-hmm.
And back to the separating the ideology to the person, even if we as Christians, because I've noticed is doing this, if we call out the ideology and we confront someone about it, a lot of people will take it as if we're attacking them personally, because they don't know how to separate that either. So it doesn't matter. Sometimes, even if we have good intentions and we do separate that, we will still get slack from them because they hate truth. A lot of people hate truth.
Exactly.
And so back to, I guess, you've been frustrated because you haven't really seen pastors and Christian leaders step up and confront this. Is that what you're frustrated with?
You see it now more, but this back in 2019 and previously, actually, it was way before that. It's just 2019 is when God revealed to me the lion nature. But now you're seeing it. Like, you are seeing it, but
in the prophetic circles, a lot of people are coming out and talking about lion nature and about the lion. A lot of ministries popping up that have something to do with the lion.
It was all after 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is cool. But Yeah, you're seeing a lot more of it though, but we need to see even more of it.
Yeah.
Because we're still a minority, and I get like how, in every civilization or nation there's always a remnant. But at the same time, it's like there was a time in this country where we were the majority, like Christians, and like basic morality was observed, and you know what I mean? Like that was the majority. So
that was the standard.
That was the standard. But
we've let the evil lions come in and set their standard up.
That's right.
All under the name, well, a big name was separation church and state.
Yeah.
And also, I guess the reason that we talk a lot about politics with this, because it comes from a God idea from the Bible, is because government and the church are hand in hand. Can you explain that a little bit of how those two are together, or like how important government is for the church to address things in the government?
Yeah, so everyone knows that the government dictates what we can and cannot do. That's how it's been since the dawn of time, since the dawn of government and civilizations. And so if we don't have I should say this. In ancient Israel, they had a monarchy, right? People think, well, at first it was a theocracy or whatever.
Theocracy with Moses.
Yeah, but I'm talking about with the kings.
With Saul,
when the kings came in, when King Saul first came in, it was a monarchy, but it wasn't an absolute monarchy. King Saul couldn't do just whatever he wanted to do.
Right.
It was a covenantal monarchy, meaning the monarch had to abide by the the covenant that God made with Israel. Like God had certain laws, certain things that the king had to follow. And it was the prophets, Samuel, in Saul's case, and then Nathan in David's case, that held the king in check whenever he deviated from that covenant. And so if we fast forward to now, to today, we are not seeing that at all. We America has, I'm going to say the West, North America at least, we have constitutions. We have a covenant, mind you, with people in government that is based on God's laws, the Bible. And it's the government to uphold this, the government's job to follow it and to do that. But we have not seen an accountability partner for the government at all. And I believe personally that should be the church. That should be the church. The church's job is to literally, vocally, in the pulpits and with meeting with government officials, to confront them whenever they deviate from the Constitution or God's laws.
Even just preaching. On Sundays,
on Sunday.
And educating their citizens on what the Bible says about societal issues.
Exactly.
But it back to the Lions thing. It's like for so long we've been so afraid to offend people, and we think under the guise of love, like you said.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes love is standing up.
Offending people. Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus did that all the time. He told
Yeah.
Peter and the disciples after like hundreds left him, he's like, "Oh, does this offend you too? You're going to leave me too?"
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, "No, we know that you're the truth."
Imagine if Jesus called you Satan. I'd be pretty offended by that. But guess what? He called Peter Satan.
He didn't
for
call
his
Peter.
own good. Well, he said, "Get behind me, Satan." But
yeah, but he was talking about the ideology.
That's what I was getting at. He was getting at what the ideology that Peter was projecting towards Jesus. He was trying to hold him back, basically,
right,
from God's will. And so,
but Peter did it out of a good heart.
Exactly. But Jesus put him in his place, and he probably offended him. He most definitely offended him.
Yeah.
But
I can't imagine how many times the disciples probably went to bed with their butt hurting, butt crying.
But it's all, I mean, that's what makes you a man, though. That's what makes you strong. If we're offended by words, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Something's very wrong. But anyway, with the church, I guess
confronting the
government and holding them up, we have failed that. We have stopped confronting the government, and we have stopped influencing the government. That's another thing. The church, I believe, is to influence government. And what I mean by this is that, and this is in an ideal world, okay, where politicians and church leaders gather together in a room and they craft godly, righteous law together. The church views it, make sure it's good, make sure it's biblical, reflects biblical, and guess what? The leaders, the politicians, they look at it as well, they do it, and then they execute it. I'm not saying the church executes laws, I'm saying the church influences laws. There's a difference. It's the government's job to execute laws. That is their realm. But it's the church's job, I believe, to influence those laws and to make sure that they are biblical, that they do reflect Christianity. Because again, your laws reflect your belief as a nation. Your laws reflect your religion as a nation. R.J. Rush Jr., he's the one that said that. Show me a nation's laws and I will show you their God. It's just, that's reality.
So what you're basically saying is, even if you take Christianity out of the government, you're just going to replace that with another religion.
Exactly.
Even atheism and Marxism is a religion.
100%. Because you look to man. You look to yourself as your God.
Because everybody has their own beliefs. And for an atheist or Marxist to tell me I have to leave my personal beliefs at home when I go into government and make policy, then I have to tell him, okay, well, leave your idea at home and don't bring your atheist idea in here and implement a Christian policy. Because you're basically telling me I have to do what's opposite of my belief when you don't do that. So you're being hypocritical. And for people to say that Christianity has nothing to do with government, that's a complete heresy.
That is
absolute complete heresy. Just look at history.
See,
and look on what this country was founded. Go ahead.
Exactly. Well, I was just gonna say, we there's the phrase that's coined, separation of church and state, right? Reality, that's not really what is happening here. People who aren't Christians, and even Christians actually, I'm not going to question their salvation, but people who claim to be Christians that believe in that, the separation of church and state, what they're missing is that the people who aren't Christians that believe in that, it's not separation of church and state, it's separation of state and Christianity. State and Christianity. Because the church is a building and the people, right? And I know what they're meaning there, but I want to be specific here because they're trying to eliminate, like what you're saying, even if you're a Christian that is a politician, you're not even really associated to the church, but you're a Christian. They're still telling you can't bring your Christianity, your faith into government. And it's like, okay, well, if there's a separation of church and Christianity, state and Christianity, then I want there to be a separation of state and atheism,
and Marxism.
state and Marxism, state and, while socialism is becoming kind of a religion nowadays, even though it's an economic system, but people are treating it like that. State and socialism, state and, LGBTQ, that's another thing that's becoming like almost like a cult, like a religious. And same with the green energy stuff and all that crap. Climate change activists. Those people are basically
they're being
religious.
More forceful than a religion.
They are religious. So, and the obvious one, state and Islam. I want there to be a separation between state and Islam, state and Muslims.
But as long as Christians keep just being lambs and being trampled by these evil lions, they can say all that stuff, but as soon as they're in office, they're going to implement their own laws, which is what their plan is. That's what's happening right now. I mean, you look back in the Civil War, there's some stories of pastors that spoke up. There was like a couple hundred, maybe even 1,000 pastors that signed on this one letter and sent to Congress saying slavery is an absolute evil. It's laid out in the Bible. This is based on Christian principles. Guess what most of the Democrats congressmen said? They said, pastors should not be allowed to have any voice in government or politics. That's not their business and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You will offend people when you speak truth.
Yeah.
And pastors are supposed to have a voice. You still can't take away pastors' freedom of speech. He has a right to do that.
Exactly.
And when you look back at a lot of these founders, they were Christian people.
Yeah.
Christian people. And they implemented... You're either going to have a Christian nation or you're going to have an atheist or Islam nation.
Yeah. The point is this. You guys. You cannot separate government, the state, whatever you want to call it, from a particular religion or worldview. You can't. You either... No. They're one and the same.
Because a government reflects one another.
Exactly. Again, show me the laws of a nation and I'll show you their God. It reflects it. You can't separate them. It's impossible. That's why it's like, what do we want to be?
Right.
What do we want to be? What does America want to be? What does Canada want to be? What does Europe want to be? What does the rest of the world want to be? Do we want to be a nation that reflects God's laws, God's values, God's culture, the Bible? Or do we want to be a nation that has laws that reflect Marxism or atheism or socialism or LGBTQ or all, and the Antichrist, really, the Antichrist spirit?
I mean,
That's what it
history has
boils down
proven
to.
that Christianity is better for society than any other religion.
Exactly.
And to kind of go off of that too, people have made these issues into political issues, and they're not. They're biblical issues. Abortion is not a political issue.
Mhm.
It's a right or wrong. It's killing people. It's a biblical issue. It starts with Christians. If you can't stand for that because you're afraid to become political, like, check your heart.
Yeah, exactly.
There's innocent lives being slaughtered,
Mhm.
millions. And you want to say that you would have rescued the Jews?
Yeah.
What are you doing? And then you also have LGBTQ. That's not a political issue. That's a mental issue.
Yeah.
Like, these people are struggling.
Mm-hmm.
We are supposed to help them.
That's a spiritual issue.
Spiritual issue.
Yeah.
And I'm not bashing any people. I'm bashing the ideology.
Exactly.
So anyway, back to the Lions Awaken thing.
Yes.
Anything you want to add with that? Like, our slogan is, I don't know if you guys can see on these screens, but our verse is Proverbs 28:1, which is, the wicked flee, though no one pursues, but the righteous are as bold as a lion.
Yeah. I just want to comment on how the whole reason why the West, I'm saying the West, is the way that it is today. The whole reason why the culture is dominated by all these Antichrist spirit agendas, all these Antichrist spirit ideologies, such as the ones that we've listed before: LGBTQ, Islam, abortion, socialism, all this crap.
Immigration.
Yeah.
All kinds of social. Okay, anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. But the whole reason why all this stuff is so prominent and dominant in our culture is because of the lions, the courage within Christians in the church being asleep. That is why.
That is why you're saying Lions
Awaken. Exactly. That is
There
why
you go.
the Lord showed me that, is because if we want things to change, if we want things to go back to the way they were in the sense of morality and being a Christian nation, freedom, then our lion, our courage within us must be awakened. We must boldly speak the truth, just as lions boldly roar. We must boldly speak the truth. And in order to do that, we need to have our courage awakened, because you can only speak the truth on controversial issues when you have courage.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's right. And that's part of our mission here, is to also inform you on these issues, because courage doesn't do much if you don't even know what you're talking about. So you have to be educated on what's going on and know what the Bible says. So the biggest thing we encourage you listeners and viewers is to read the word for yourself. Read the laws, read the Constitution for yourself to know what it says. And I hope and pray that your courage will be awakened, and that what we share today will encourage you. And so please comment, send us an email on info@lionsawaken.org. That contact information is on our website, again, lionsawaken.org. And let us know what you think. So you can check us out on YouTube at Lions Awaken. We have a Facebook page, Instagram page. We try to post something every day there, a quote or something. And yeah. Is that it?
that's it, baby.
All right.
Keep roaring the truth.
Roaring the truth. Thank you for watching.